How we doing, my man?
No bad, man.
Good to see you. How's things?
It's good, man. It's
Just make sure you're nice and close to that microphone.
I'll give it a wee
just
pull
even
over,
pull
like.
the chair in a wee bit, man. Sit a wee bit closer. You all good?
Well, very well, man.
So we've came for Inverness.
All the way down today, aye.
Good journey.
And not too bad. The train was heaving. I decided to take a train instead of driving because I was getting trouble off my physio for driving too soon after surgery.
We will get into that a bit later.
Aye.
See what's happening there. So apart from that though, all good?
Yeah, very well, mate.
Keeping busy?
There's never a dull day between the two jobs. Like,
you were just telling me there, and I'm surprised you actually have time to sit, mate, but again we'll discuss all that. So it's been a while, man. Can't remember last time I must have saw you. It must have been a long time ago.
Maybe
man.
9 years.
Yeah, probably like out.
And we probably can't even remember
exactly, man.
bumping into each other anyway, because it was never a sober interaction. There's always drink involved, and we've been in each other's company. Like literally, the first time I met you, it was a taste of chaos, and then I came back to you and Neil's flat. Yeah, and then every other time since then, the only time I ever was there was to get drunk.
To get wrecked.
Yeah. And then ever like any other time after that, it was always just bumping into each other, like in the Carty or Socky Hall Street or something like that.
How's it going, mate? So I remember you obviously back then being a big lad.
All maybe I don't know, £300 or something. Yeah.
I've got in my notes there the heaviest at 322. Is that right?
Maybe a little bit. That's maybe a bit heavy. Maybe about.
Overestimated that. I'm sure that's.
It's no far off it. I was 20. I was roughly 23 stone, but I would never step on the scales at my heaviest, and I would never really get photos taken at my heaviest.
I was the exact same.
The first time I remembered actually being on the scales, and that was after like losing some weight. I was maybe 20 stone. And I'd already made like a significant like dent in like a weight loss stage, and I was 20 stone then, and that's where my photos are from then. And I was bigger like before, because I'd never used to get my photo taken, or I never used to put myself out there at all. Like when I was that size,
uncomfortable. You're obviously saying, mate, untagging myself on Facebook and photos, all that kind of
Bebo
stuff,
back then, like.
Okay, I know, on MySpace, you see yourself tagged in it, and you're just like,
aye.
And then you try and go on and untag yourself just because maybe you just don't like, obviously, how you were looking at that point, feeling uncomfortable, we were a bit embarrassed or whatever. That's how I felt anyway. So what ages were you when you were overweight, man?
I was always overweight. I was overweight from a young age, right up until into my 20s. Yeah. And then I've lost weight, I've gained some back, I've lost it again, I've gained weight purposely back, for through sport and purposely trying to gain weight. And then I've lost it again for other goals, and then in the past kind of 12 months I've actually gained some back, and now I'm back on board and going through it again, so.
Right, man. So, what was it that inspired you to start losing weight in the first place? Like, what was the kickstarter for you to go, right, I really need to lose all this weight here?
Funnily enough, it was because my mum started losing weight.
Yeah.
She wasn't nowhere near as big as me. She was just shift work, literally worked maybe 18, 19 hours a day, from as far back as I can remember. She's still doing it now. Apart from when she takes 10 holidays a year. You know what I mean? As a business owner, she's living she's probably living more of a life now than what she did when we were younger. But she'd started doing silly diets, Cambridge diet and lighter life, these shake diets, and she'd lost a rake of weight. And back then I thought, fucking hell, that's a good way to do it,
Yeah, definitely, man.
So that's how I initially got into it. She was like, oh, go out and see this lady, it's the Cambridge diet.
Right, okay.
And thinking back now, it's cringy, I went out to this lady's house, who's massive as well.
Right, okay.
I'm thinking, at the time I was thinking, what does she know about nutrition? She was peddling these weight loss shakes, and I did that for 2 weeks and lost about 17, 18 pounds in a fortnight.
Right, okay.
But I felt like like deaf.
Yeah. What were you doing on that diet? Was that just
That's like four
like
4 shakes a day.
That's it.
Yeah.
No food.
No food.
Okay, no, man.
And then like looking back now, I've like looked at the time, obviously didn't know anything. I was just ignorant to nutrition, you know. And looking back now, I've like looked at that like diet since. The 4 shakes a day, you're literally on 550 calories a day. No wonder I lost like 18 pounds in 14 days.
Yeah.
But I felt like death, you know, like breath stank, migraines, you know, just.
Probably lost a good bit of muscle.
Oh, I probably didn't even have muscle back then. You know, it was just and that's when I decided like, no, I'll like not do this. Yeah, it kickstarted it for me. It gave me the initial boost, and then that's when I kind of went on to like forums and like was looking at, you know, bodybuilding.com, and they found like the Chris Geffen's 12 weeks to shred.
Trusted Chris Geffen.
You know, like that kind of thing, you know, and like that's how we kind of got into it, like, yeah.
Nice one, man. So what would you say that you felt were the biggest benefits of when you started to get a bit lighter, get a bit fitter? Like, what was the main things that were changing in your life that you are obviously
more confident,
rewards from?
being able to actually buy clothes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I wore jeans until I was in my 20s, you know.
This is the thing, like we met at the time when everybody was wearing skinny girls' jeans and all this kind of stuff.
I had bought like...
I couldn't, man. Like I couldn't look as cool as everyone else because I couldn't fit into those jeans.
That's the same as me.
I got really sad over that because I couldn't even shop and top man.
Yeah, I was buying
there because they didn't fit my waist size.
That's the same as me. I had like a 48-inch waist. I think like at 48 at my highest. You know what I mean?
Impressive.
I was buying like Billabong jeans, you know? You know what I mean? Like Quicksilver ones. And I was going to tailors and getting them like made skinnier in the legs so I could get them to fit the waist.
So we could look like
and I was buying t-shirts off the back of Kerrang magazines and that because they were the only ones that came in like triple XLs and that.
Yeah.
Like that's...
So what waist size are you now?
I can get in like a 32 skinny jeans, and that's even with like putting weight like back on this year.
Yeah, because you got down there.
I was down wearing like a 30-inch like skinny jean, like at my lightest. Yeah.
Impressive, man. I'll definitely put obviously your before and after picture up on the podcast somewhere, man, so folk can see the change. Because I know you said you didn't like photos getting taken when you were your head.
I've still got some. Yeah, I've still got some band photos from like when I was pretty big. Yeah, because they were unavoidable.
So yeah, you just started feeling a bit more confident, a bit kind of, a bit happier, I guess, because you were able to
match happier, yeah. And it was all down to just being able to like be a bit more comfortable in myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about the health aspect of things? Did you feel like, obviously healthier? Did you feel more awake? Did you feel more energetic?
More energetic. I was able to concentrate more, sleeping better. Just generally my well-being was like a much better like lease on life, so to speak.
Yeah.
You know, but still like going through that, I was still, back then it was my early 20s, so I was still going out every weekend. It was almost like I used my new lease on life to go out and just be more comfortable when I was out, you know, like out in the pubs and whatnot. Whereas before I'd be sitting in a corner or like I wasn't very outgoing, you know, I wouldn't go and speak to people. But even though I was like confident with my like close group of friends, like out with that, I was never an outgoing person. I would have never have been like sat here speaking. I would never have spoke in front of a crowd of people or anything, like nothing like that. Yeah. I used to skive off school. People used to think I was like bad, but it's like I used to skive off school because I was too embarrassed to go and like, you know, you do like in music, you do your wee recitals on like the keyboard or the recorder, or like you have to play like sitting on the guitar. I used to just skip it because I didn't want to like do that in front of anyone. And then to go from that to then being like a singer in a band to then like running a care home and now like, you know, being a personal trainer and teaching groups of people. Yeah, exactly. It's like a complete like turnaround.
Epic, man. That's where a lot of people get lost sometimes and getting too hung up in maybe how they look or like not having a six pack or something like that. But you know, look at the other things in life that are changing as well, which is just more important than the way you look, because I think that the confidence side of stuff, or the as you say, like you've got given like a new lease of life in that, like that's probably in my opinion the best thing about it.
It definitely has been, yeah.
So what was there certain things that you do now or started to do that you just didn't because you were like uncomfortable? Or was that like where the band stuff and that came from? Like,
I definitely, I would have never have been confident enough. I was bigger when I first was in the band, but I was never like, it was always like the jacket and the hoodie would be staying on. You know, I'd never be anywhere in just a t-shirt.
Yeah.
It was always like, didn't matter if it was like you're on the beach.
Yeah.
It was wearing like, you know, a vest, you know, like or a t-shirt if you were like, you know, like on the beach, or if you were on stage. I always had my hoodie on, had a jacket, and I always had like, people were like, oh, you must be roasting. Nah, I'm all right. Like, and you're absolutely drenched, you know. Like you've just spent an hour and a half like straightening your like fringe, you know, back in the day, and then like it's just all like wavy and that, because it was like you're literally like just like boiled because you're in a hoodie and a jacket. Yeah, aye. That's it. Everyone's wearing shirts and that, and you keep your jacket on. Yeah. Are you gonna put it in the cloakroom? Nah, it's all right. I'll just hold it, because if you're holding it, it's almost like it's. Yeah, that's what I used to do. Aye.
So how did you end up like in the gym, like lifting? Because you've obviously spoke about your diet, maybe the diet and eating side of things, but how did you end up training?
Just when I first started going to the gym, it was literally for the first maybe 10 months. I was just the guy that was going to boxercise class, and then after boxercise class, I'd spend like 90 minutes on a cross trainer, thinking like cardio was the be all and end all. Yeah. And I'd do a class like 6 days a week, but I was in the gym like literally like 7 days a week just doing cardio until I like one day I can't remember.
Was that because you were like obsessed with it, or was it because you felt you had to do it 7 days? I was
obsessed with getting the weight loss. Yeah. That first year or so, that's all that like I was worried about, was like the scales, like, and I've like completely like moved away from that now. But back then it was like an obsession. Like I needed to get, like, my goal was like, I think my goal was 11 stone, coming from like 23 stone. It was kind of like, people were like, oh, you're like, people were like saying like, nah, that's too light. You'll look like death if you get down that far. And I think the lightest I did get was like 11.2, and I did look like death. Like that wasn't sustainable for very long. Like, you know, and
that's one of the biggest stuff I've ever heard of.
Yeah, and it wasn't. And I think it was my brother was one of the first people that took me to the gym to start lifting weights. He was always fitter. Like growing up, he was like cross country. He was, you know, like tennis. Although I played sports, I was always overweight. He was always in shape. Yeah. So he was 5 years older than me. So he, you know, as you do as you get older, you go into the gym, lift weights. So I'd start tagging along to the gym with him. Okay. And then a few other boys kind of got into it. People from rugby lift weights, just like that. So I just kind of got into that, and then started going on the forums, following just your kind of generic, like as we were saying, the Chris Geffins 12-week program. That's probably the first one that I done where I properly lifted weights, and that was maybe 9 years ago now. Right,
okay, so you've been like early 20s then?
Yeah, about 22, yeah.
And was that something you'd done on your own? Were you out with friends, or were you just in it yourself?
Used to just go myself. Yeah, there was boys then that would go to the gym and lift weights, but I would generally just kind of go along myself. If some of the mates wanted to come along with me, they would do it as well. There was a few boys that kind of went through a similar transformation like myself. There's maybe 4 of us that were pretty big. I was even the biggest, like one of my mates at the time, and 3 of them went through kind of stages of trying that Cambridge diet and lighter life. A lot of them actually stuck it out and lost 10, 11 stone on it. And I don't know. And like they're actually kind of like the success stories of that kind of company, because they've actually managed to sustain that weight loss and kept it off. Yeah, like those kind of diets are like, it's like anyone can like restrict the calories that much, but it's what you do after. But they actually like managed it. They learned and now they're in like much better eating habits. But yeah, there was a few other boys that kind of done the same thing, but we generally just kind of did our own thing.
So who did you start? Did you start looking up to anyone? Did you start like, for me it was pretty much straight away Steve Cook.
I was literally just about to say.
I was like, I want to look at him.
Literally just about to say, I did the Steve Cook, like a big man on campus, like program off bodybuilding.com. People like Michael Hearn, like, you know, you look up to people like, but
those are insane physiques.
Yeah, but it's
back,
not.
maybe was like, I probably thought that I could have maybe looked like him in maybe a few years, but now I'm like, that's not going to happen.
No, that's it.
I mean, but obviously it's good to have those role models.
Yeah, that's
it.
it.
Kind of make sure it's not too unsustainable. Like Michael Hearn's probably a wee bit unsustainable.
By a long shot, like
again, it's some physique to be looking up to. But
yeah.
So those kind of
it was
the big bodybuilders.
Not even just that. Most of my kind of like people I followed was on like YouTube subscriptions.
Yeah.
So you've got like your Chris Jones.
Yeah.
I used to follow like people like Christian Guzman. I don't know if you know Obese to Beast. No, like just channels like that, like that. And I still like YouTube's like a big part of like my daily routine. I get up in the morning when I'm when I'm kicking about the house, I'm watching YouTube channels, and then I kind of veered off from like the physique, like like trying to lose weight type of thing, to following strength athletes, and that's what I'm still kind of like interested in now. So I'm not so like hung up on like my body image and the weight in the scales. Yeah, it's still, because I was so big in the past, it's always going to be there. Like this year I've kind of crept back up to like 98 kilograms from being like in the mid 70s last year. And I'm kind of thinking like, oh, I need to rein that in. You know what I mean? It doesn't bother me now because I know I've got the knowledge and I've got the ability to do it. And I know like...
You know how to do it the safe way.
Yeah, and I know like I've got a good group of clients, and it's before, like when I first started, I thought like, oh, you can't be like out of shape, as a PT, or you can't gain weight. Your clients will think, why are you gaining weight?
Yeah.
It's like, but it's not. You've got the knowledge. It's
of course. I mean, there's no. You're better having the knowledge than looking great but not knowing what you're doing. Because
that's it.
That is a lot of cases that I've heard.
You get a lot of PTs that are like, they've never had to go through, like any transformations. It's like,
I think it's a big thing that we can use, to be honest.
Well, that's
because we can relate. We can actually relate. We can't just say we can. We can actually relate. Do you know what I mean?
I think that's why I've been successful in my first like 18 months, is because I'm a relatable trainer. It's like, are you going to go to the guy that's like been in shape with a six-pack all his life and can kind of tell you what he does, which is totally going to be like anecdotal because he's never had to be in like your shoes, if you know what I mean? It's like, you wouldn't go to the guy that's like, say, like just been born and like gifted, as like a amazing like football player, or like the guy that's like struggled and like built like like worked hard to get there. Yeah, I agree
with that totally. So how did it then? Because what I would say when I think about you and weights, I think big lifts, man, strong. Like I see your well, maybe not so much recently because you've been injured, but before you got injured, like I was looking at the weights you were doing when lifting, and I was like, bloody hell, man, it's fucking strong. Like, did you go down more of the strength route, or that was gym performance rather than aesthetics? Yeah,
that's definitely. It was maybe three years ago. I sought out a powerlifting coach with the hopes of like competing in powerlifting, not to be like like placing in the competitions, or just because it was what I wanted to do. Like I wanted to work towards a goal, and so I got a powerlifting coach. And just like followed like strength training, like programs, just to my goal was always to deadlift 200 kilograms and be able to squat double body weight and bench like 1.5, and I've like surpassed that goals like tenfold. Awesome, man. But I've never managed to step on a platform. I've always...
Is it something you still want to do?
I still want to do that, yeah. It's last year I injured my shoulder. I've just had that surgery 14 days ago yesterday, so hopefully in the new year that's something I can get back to, yeah.
So what happened with all the injuries and stuff, man?
I've had a surgery in my back. That was due to a car crash down here on the M8, and that was three ruptured discs in my lower lumbar.
When was that?
That was 4 years ago.
Okay.
That's how I actually first got into strength, because when my surgeon done my surgery, he said like, oh, I don't think you'll be able to like lift heavy weights again.
Oh really?
I just kind of got on like getting started in it. Like I'd never really done like deadlifts or like squats or before, just kind of like like the usual, like you're on a Smith machine or you know, like bench pressing, like, you know, like just dumbbell bench press, or like the right, like maybe like 40 kilograms in a bar. You know, I'd never really got into it, and then I just started getting into it when I had the car crash, and it wasn't ever diagnosed as I'd ruptured my discs. It was just it was muscular damage, and that went on for about 18 months until I basically couldn't get my socks on, couldn't walk. I'd get stuck in the toilet after, like, Haley would be out, my partner would be out at work, and I'd have to phone my mum. She'd have to come round and, like, you know, like, embarrassing, you know, when you're 25-year-old, phoning your mum to help you get off the toilet, you know what I mean? Because, like, your back had seized and whatnot. So I eventually had to...
So you couldn't train?
No, like, there was, like, nothing. Like, I would just be, like, out for walks.
Right, okay.
So that was, like, 18 months off of training. And then after that surgery, I got back into it, and that's when I kind of studied, you know, a lot about, like, rehabbing back, and... Like, I wanted to be stronger. I wanted to, like, actually have a strong back rather than have a back issue. So that's what I wanted to, like, that's what I wanted to do. And that's kind of what got me started down the path of being a trainer, because I wanted to help other people that were in that situation as well. Not just, like, the weight loss, but getting stronger,
Totally,
And then the shoulder, that was just kind of ego lifting, like, so to speak. Like, I was at a powerlifting seminar with Robert Lav, and we were just... At the end of the day, we were just all, like, testing our 1 rep maxes, and we're doing overhead press. It's not even part of the big 3, you know. And one boy pushed 100 overhead, so I was like, oh, I'll do that as well, you know. And I managed to push press overhead. Felt fine. And then the next day, had my wee boy and I was down the trolley, as you do, and I swung the trolley around and just felt my shoulder just go like.
Shouldn't even have been doing it.
No, that's it. Like,
that's what you get, mate. No, that sucks, man. But you're on the road to recovery.
Yes, I think the 12th of December is when I can go back into the actual gym and start, like, rehabbing it properly. Just now it's all resistance bands and just, like,
frustrating.
Very much. The last 18 months have been very frustrating.
Yeah. I feel for you, mate. I've been quite lucky. You know, up until this point, I've never had anything major. Maybe the odd few weeks out. I've been quite lucky, but so, you know, I can't really imagine how it must feel to be out for that long. Because I know I would definitely struggle with the mental side of that.
Well,
just, like,
that's what affects you more, and that's you almost go into, like, a wee depression, you know. And it's like,
definitely.
But you're still having to, you know, you tell if one of your clients gets injured, you tell them, oh, you know, there's still things you can do. You can still track your nutrition. You can still keep your NEAT app, you know. And it's like, when it happens to you, it's you don't have anyone there telling you to do that kind of things. There's no one there to coach you.
100%.
So you kind of go into, like, a wee, like, depression, and you get anxious, and you do, like, I literally did, you know, like, kind of fell off, like, kind of stopped worrying about myself, and just kind of, like, put all my attention to, like, all my clients, and just kind of let myself go over the last, like, 18 months.
Which is great for them.
But not so brilliant for them.
Not so much for yourself. And obviously you've been, which I love that you've been listening to my podcasts, which I really appreciate, man. And you know, you'll know that I'm quite, you know, wanting to, you know, talk about mental health, and especially the benefits of what training, exercising, and diet can have on someone if they do have some issues there. So you've struggled with anxiety and panic attacks.
Yeah, and
so if you could just, if you'd be okay, to talk a little bit about it, just basically how it's affected you. And
definitely,
what kind of impact it's had on your life.
I'll try my best. Like, so maybe it's only been the past, I'd say 15, 16 months that it's actually like, even when I was overweight, I never got panic attacks. I never would say I'd suffered anxiety. Yeah, you get, like, anxious about certain things, but I think it's just like a lot of things over the last maybe, like, 5 years, like, 4 or 5 years, kind of caught up. A lot of stuff at home with, like, my dad's mental health, like, dealing with he's a manic depressive since I was saying before, since I was like 14.
Yeah.
I'm 31 now, so that's been a long time. He's been in and out of this. I would say it's like, you know, like, seeing CPNs, psychiatrists, being, like, you know, like, checked himself into what we call, it's like New Craig, so it's like a psychiatric hospital.
Right, okay,
like, short stays. It's not like being sectioned. He's taking himself up there if he thinks that he's not coping. Yeah. So, like, review his medication and stuff like that. There's been a few manic episodes that because my brother works away, my sister's pretty sensitive like to all that, so it'd be difficult for her to deal with. And then him and my mum, like, I've split up, so it's kind of left to me, you know, to deal with. And then having a wee son, he'll be 4 in December, but he was born 3 months premature as well. I think everything just kind of built up, and then last year, when everything kind of settled down, it was almost like everything kind of sunk in. And then since then, I had, like, I wouldn't say in the last kind of 4 or 5 months, I've been pretty good, but like on and off with like anxiety, panic attacks, and then like you result to like going back to like what you did when you were a teenager. It's like comfort eating, you know, binging, like things like that. Things that like cope, like things that like, you know, you used to like cope with problems with. You revert back to that. Yeah.
So that's just a recent thing then, man.
Yeah, that's just the past, like, I would say 18 months tops, but I wouldn't even say it's as long as that. And I think
so. We've not been able to train.
No, and I think that's why you revert, and I know it. Like, I know that's why I reverted back to, you know, like, well, I can't go to the gym and take out, you know, frustration. Can't go out and stress relieve by, you know, going and doing heavy deadlifts and, you know, like squatting and, you know, actually, like, you know, expending energy, you know, like releasing endorphins. So it's like, what else does that? You know, tab of Ben and Jerry will do that, you know. I mean, like, go to the drive-through, you know, like that does, you know, and it's short-lived, and that's why you keep doing it, like.
But again, that's what you were saying just a minute ago, that, you know, you're usually one trying to tell other people.
Yeah, I know.
You know, to help with things, but then all of a sudden it's you in that position, and with your injury, you've not even been able to get in the gym and stuff. So it must have been pretty hard, man.
Aye, definitely.
So you know, I hope that when you're back fighting fit, that, you know, you can get back in doing what you love to do, and it helps.
It's strange. After having the surgery, it was almost like a release, and it was almost like you're kicking yourself, because it was like after the surgery, even though I still can't train.
I've seen some sneaky videos.
Aye, I know. I've done like I done a deadlift challenge like just before the surgery. I knew that I was going to get the surgery, so I kind of thought the shoulders fit. We'll go out in a blast. We'll go out with a bang, and it was for a good cause. But apart from that, like when I had the surgery, it was almost like something clicked, and because I knew I couldn't train like upper body, or, you know, I couldn't do any lifting, I can't get like my shoulder like in a position for squats, and I knew like, oh well, what can you do? You can walk on a treadmill, you can cycle a bike, you can keep your knee up. But it was almost like having the injury and not having the surgery. It was like it was like a crutch to kind of just use it as an excuse to kind of be in that kind of place where you're like, I can't train now, but I'll be getting the surgery soon, so I'll just wait until after I get the surgery, and then I'll get back to it. And then as soon as I had the surgery, it was like something clicked, and I've like been back. You know, I've been walking on the treadmill in between clients. I've been using the bike. I've been doing, you know, bodyweight leg exercise. All the things I should have been doing before. You know.
Sometimes. So you've been personal training for how long?
It'll be two years come February.
Enjoying it?
I love it. Yeah.
Okay, so big question. Why did you do it? Because, you know, you it's not your full-time job, so you've got the job, so obviously it's going to be more time that you're giving up of your own time, money, you know, learning. You know, why did you get into it? Why did you decide to go for it, even though?
Just because I never had anyone there to like guide me through it. I made like loads of mistakes. I'd need more than one hand to count like how many of fundamental things that I did wrong. And just to be there to like guide, even if it's like someone doesn't take my advice, just if I'm there to actually give them it when they're ready to do it, they'll have that knowledge. And I didn't have that for maybe like 2 or 3 years like into it. And like I'm like, you know, I'm only 2 years into my personal training career. That's still only like a smidgen of knowledge that I have, you know what I mean? Definitely. Like people think that I'm the expert, but it's
I think
I'm trying to learn every day, you know.
When you get your qualification, people think that's you just that's your PT. You can
No, that's
go
like
you can do it, but that's like
that's the
not
big
even,
mistake to make.
That's not even the start of
Yeah.
it, really, is it? When it comes to knowledge, and especially in the minefield is nutrition and training. So, so you're basically just doing it to help folk.
Yeah,
That's
literally
the
just
main-
do
the main
that's.
reason,
I'm just like passionate about it. It's
which I think is very, very.
my Monday to Friday is running a care home, and then my evenings are all clients. I do 2 classes a week, and then come January I'm going to be starting a beginners barbell group just to get people like
Saw that
like
advertised on your
people
Instagram.
getting like into free weights
Yeah.
to kind of keep people like not keep them off the machines but get them more comfortable
It's
in the
getting
gym.
confident,
Yeah,
totally. Man.
that's it.
So what's a typical week for you then when it comes to, because obviously 2 jobs, you've got a child,
Yeah.
you've got a partner. Like, what's a typical
Week is
look like?
Monday through Thursday, waking up like 6 a.m. So then my partner leaves for work at like 5 to 8. So we're both up before 6 most mornings. Same with my son, he wakes up. I spend the morning with him until about 9, till either my mum or my partner's mother comes round, and they babysit until he goes to nursery, which is at 12.
Yeah.
So I'm working maybe 9 till 3:30, 4, and then I drive through to Inverness, which is a 15-mile drive, and I've got clients from 4 till 8 most nights, sometimes 9, and then it's home. And then Fridays I take off from like my full-time job, and I spend from like 7, 8 o'clock in the morning till 8 o'clock at night, like pretty much like 11, 12 sessions that day.
Amazing, man.
And then Saturdays and Sundays completely off. Yeah.
Nice one. I was gonna say, like, like I said to you earlier, man, like, when do you get a moment to sleep? Because that's a lot of work. Man.
Yeah.
How do you? Well, obviously you do it because you enjoy it. But what's your favourite thing about coaching folk and helping folk? Or?
Just seeing their progression. Yeah, like I'd quite happily not, like I do quite happily some days not like do a session myself because someone else is like, oh, can you fit me in at such and such a time? And I think sometimes oh, that's when I was going to do like the last 18 months has been grand because it's not as if I could do much. So it's I kind of used it as like, oh well, I could do them instead of like, you know, doing some cardio. But now that it's like next year, I'm going to have to rethink that and think I will maybe have to, you know, quieten down a bit because I want to concentrate a bit more on me. I want to not work as hard, and that's something like I will have to, like, you know, consider going into the new year is taking a bit more time for myself, because the last kind of 18 months I haven't.
Yeah, man. So what's your plan for when you get back into the gym? What are you going to be going to do? Are you just going to be trying to get in heavy again? Or?
No, not. I'm gonna
behave yourself.
I'm gonna behave myself this time. A bit more physique focused, even if it's just for, you know, the first half of the year. Kind of get my body weight back down. I was comfortable around 75, 78 kilograms, and even like at 78 kilograms last year, I was pulling 3 times body weight deadlift. So that was 240 deadlift at 78 kilograms.
Nice, man.
That's like to get. I don't think I'll probably get back to that kind of strength anytime soon, but that'll be the goal: is get back down to about 78 kilograms and still lift relatively heavy, but be a bit more kind of like health and physique kind of focus rather than just focusing on like numbers in the bar.
Well, what's your or how do you find dieting? Now that you've got the knowledge of the best, well, not so the best way, but in maybe our opinion, I'm
very flexible. I can fit things into my diet like every day. I don't see the need for cheat days. That's saying the guy that's just had about like 18 months worth of them, like, but but like I've certainly no need now. But yeah, when I am dieting, I just track my macros. I manage to fit things in. For my clients, I do the same thing. It's if they've never done it before and they're struggling to grasp, you know, tracking macros, it's a calorie and protein goal. Yeah. And once they get comfortable with that, I add in a fibre goal, so then they're not just making horrendous choices when it comes to carbs, and they can kind of play around with their carbs and fats, as long as they're not going really low fat. Especially the women, you know, I kind of give them a little bit more, you know, flexibility, so it's not something that's going to, like, they're going to do for 10 weeks and then think, oh no, fuck this, I'm I'm bored,
Yeah,
or
definitely, man.
like, and then they go off and binge. You know, like all the things I would tell myself is what I tell my clients.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, definitely. So
but
do you struggle with the restriction aspect, just in regards to like obviously staying in a calorie deficit?
I don't struggle with staying in a calorie deficit, but I've had coaches in the past that have given me like a meal plan, and within like 2 weeks I'm like messaging them saying, here, I'm not like, and then can I swap this, or can I swap that, or can I just total this up to find the macros and just follow the macros? And the guy's just like, I'll do what you fucking want.
Right.
And that's like been as recent as like a year ago, because I thought like, oh, I'm just gonna get an online coach, and
Well,
that
that's
wasn't,
good that they say
you know,
you can do whatever you want. Do you know what I mean?
I think they were probably
I've
just
heard
getting fed up.
I've heard some mad stories about people saying that, you know, if you don't eat this at that time, that it won't work. You know
I had
what
that. I had that off them, but it was kind of like, I prefer you just stick to this and that, because there's a reason why I've given you that food.
Yeah,
but I'm like, well, I'm kind of a bit more in the know than the average person.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I was asking, well, why? And there was no reason why, you know. So
totally.
so I was like, why can't I just have the same macros, but have a bit more choice? And then eventually it was just kind of do what you fucking want.
Yeah. Oh God, just do what you want, mate. Take your money back.
So like, I know PTs that give out like set meal plans, and it's they get good results, but I see their clients after and the results aren't sustained.
I think obviously, maybe, well, like everything, it's quite an individual thing, because I would say that the way I work out with clients in regards to freedom of eating trying to get them to eat what they enjoy, but sticking within certain goals, obviously, or you know, can't just eat whatever they want as long as it's healthy, because that doesn't work either. But I think that sometimes the freedom is almost a bit too much for
Freedom
some
can be
people.
too much, yeah.
And they need that bit of like guidance, not even more guidance, but basically they just want told what to do because it's easier, and that works for some people. But I find that most people it doesn't, because
It's certainly not long term.
fed up, you know, you can't really just keep eating the same thing all the time.
No.
As you say, because it won't be sustainable, which is the biggest thing. So I would definitely say that's in my opinion, what works most of the time. But what would you say is some of the biggest nutrition myths that you see online on people's Instagrams, Facebook, magazines, whatever? What would you say like the ones that stick out to you that quite annoy you? There's some absolute nuts.
Biggest ones like
there.
Don't eat carbs after like 5 p.m. Or even just carbs, or even just carbs in general. You know, like carbs are bad. It's, that one like grinds my gears.
I think it's quite. Damaging to tell people that carbs are bad or to make you put on weight, because you know all it's going to do is make people scared to eat carbs. So they'll maybe restrict them to the point where all they want is carbs.
And then that's when you binge. Yeah, I've done it. You know.
Yeah, definitely.
Been there.
We all have. But that is probably one of the most common ones.
And I see it. I literally see it and I hear it like daily. When you ask someone, have you like, how's your day been? I've been pretty good. I've not had any bread. I've not had this. I've not had that. And I'm always saying, why not?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, because I'm being good. It's like, okay. Like sometimes I honestly don't know, like, and this isn't my clients, but it's like other people, you know, like I'm just generally maybe speaking at a class, or I could be speaking to someone at my job, because they know I do PT on the side, and they always come and they try and get like, you know, the advice, you know, just like they come up to the office and they maybe ask oh, what should I be doing? I'm like, oh, give me a shout and I'll get you in for a consultation. But they want that free, like they want that free time for I sit down and, you know, just like tell them exactly what to do, and it's like it's not as easy as that. And you get people that's like, oh, I'm being very good, I'm just having this, I'm having that, I don't eat bread or I don't eat biscuits, and I'm like, God, you don't eat that. I'm like, no, I definitely do, you know, like I just track it, you know, and that, and then like the people that are in the know that tell you things like that, that's actually probably like worse than like not knowing, as people that have actually got qualifications and kind of tell you that kind of information. And I know plenty of people that do that.
I know, because it actually does happen.
Happen, man.
Like But at the end of the day, I think obviously a lot of it is they're just, you know, they're in a business of supplementation or whatever it may be, that there's money to be made by doing that kind of thing. But it obviously can be quite misleading, because, you know, it's hard being a coach when you're trying to get across better habits to people, to try and get them to get out of a mentality where they feel they need to restrict things, or they can't eat things, or if they do eat it, that they've failed and all the rest of it. And then you're trying to get this through to them, but then somebody in their work tells them the exact opposite, or somebody in their work says that they've got a PT and they're not allowed carbs. Why are you eating carbs? Or they'll go on Instagram and somebody's posting something about you need to eat 6 meals a day, all this kind of stuff, and it's always messing with our heads, man. Do you know what I mean? And it can be quite hard to, because you can understand why they're questioning what you tell them, because they're just getting told the opposite thing. But it's just there's so much crazy info out there, man. But it doesn't have to be as mental as what some folk make out to be, because the basis of, you know, the fat loss is
it's calorie deficit.
It's energy exchange, and obviously what you're eating is a major part of that. But the fact of the matter is, it's your energy exchange. It's going to make the difference, but it's everyday life that makes it difficult. Temptation, all the rest of it. What would your top tips be for people who are trying to avoid junk food? Because, you know, if you know, the calories can get way out of control too easily, or getting caught parties and stuff like that. Like
most of the
what would you say for them to try and stay on track with being in a calorie deficit consistently? If
my clients know they've got a birthday at the weekend, I'll ask them, you know, like, give me some notice, because we can account for that day. You know, we can make your deficit a little bit lower throughout the week. You can cut back that day, and then, you know, go back to it like the next night, because one night isn't going to break, you know, months of hard work.
Yeah, totally.
But by putting so much pressure and thinking, like, that night's going to, like, be such a hindrance, that's what's going to cause the stress, which is going to lead to, you know, it will lead to the downfall, because you're going to go mad on that night, and then the next day you're going to be either really hungover, or you're going to feel so guilty about, you know, maybe having 2 pieces of birthday cake, or having an extra trip to the buffet, and then that day is then going to be sabotaged, because you're going to think, oh fuck it, I'm going to start again on Monday, and then you're going to do the next thing, you're going to do that on Sunday. Either that, or I get clients all the time that they tell people I'm on a diet, and as soon as you tell someone on a diet, because someone else doesn't want to feel guilty for what they're doing, they try and force what they're doing on you. So if, you know, like, someone wants to bring in a box of donuts to the office, they're bringing that box of donuts in because they don't want to feel guilty eating them. They want everyone to be eating them. So they come along and, like, here, have a donut. You know, it's like, I bought 2 boxes of Krispy Kremes. I was down in Glasgow at the weekend shopping. Here's a donut. And if you're saying, no, I'm not having one, I'm on a diet. Oh, so-and-so's on a diet, they're not having a donut. And then you think, oh, fuck it, everyone else is having one, I'll have one. And then that feeling of guilt kind of creeps in. And I just, that may be not for everyone. I'm speaking from, like, you know, my own experiences as well, and that's like, and I think that's where I find it easier, like, speaking from my experiences when I'm speaking to, like, my clients, because it's like, I've made loads of mistakes, so I always say, you know, I've made like 10, like, you know, 20 years of, like, you know, nutritional mistakes and, like, bad habits, so, like, let me tell you what not to do, and like you'll get on much better, like, type thing, like, aye.
What about mistakes that people might make when they're first joining the gym? You know, when they haven't been ever, or they've not been for years, and they decide, you know, it's time to change, and then they join the gym. What big mistakes do you see people making when it comes to that initial starting off part?
You see people
It's almost January. It's going to be a lot.
You see people diving into, like, things that are, like, way beyond what they should be doing. You know, they're in the gym six days a week. They're going, like, 2-3 hours a session. They're spending, you know, like, they're maybe going to a class, and then after the class they're doing what I used to do. They used to go and spend, like, you know, 90 minutes in a cross trainer. It's overkill. You know, it's you get people that are, like, not lifting with good form. They're just, they see everyone else doing it. They see the guys, like, you know, like it's such a social media culture now, so they're seeing the exercises on Instagram, on YouTube, that are going in and they're squatting on Bosu balls and you know, just like it's like they're trying all the stuff they see on social media. Whereas like if you've never been to the gym before, you don't have to, you know, go long term with a personal trainer. But even if you want to hire one for 2 or 3 sessions to get fundamentals down, you know, because that's like the basics is where like what matters. And that's where you're gonna that's where you're gonna build from.
Definitely, man. I think like there's sometimes I'm looking at some workout videos, man, and like some of the exercises you see, you're just kind of like, what's that? Like, bring it back to basics and do the movements that are guaranteed for success. And they might not be fancy or sexy, but I mean, it's going to give you results. And I think that sometimes people just think that basic is bad because
it doesn't look cool.
It's not fancy enough, or we're thinking, oh well, I can't do that because I've been doing that. I need to figure out another way to do it. But if you're progressing on those bigger movements, like, I haven't seen you know, the changes in my physique since I've started deadlifting properly and heavier. I've been brilliant. Whereas before I maybe was looking for, you know, just something. I don't know, just maybe it was, well, one, I was a wee bit scared of deadlifts, to be honest, but like I was maybe looking for like fancy workouts or fancy back exercises to do when I was missing out on
your rows and
one of the big
chins
bent over rows and the deadlifts and pull-ups.
Chins, like pull-ups,
So I think that can be an issue as well. So what would you say, what would you advise on somebody like into a gym basically, like for that initial starting point, what would you say to them to be looking at, like in regards to how many times a week to start off with and what should the basis of the training be?
If it's your first starting out in the gym, either if you can't afford to hire a personal trainer, you know, research, you know, like the compound movements, you know, multi-joint movements, your squats, your deadlifts, your bench press, your rows, chin-ups, you know, things that are, you know, burning a lot of calories, you know, the compound movements. Just do two days a week to begin with, you know, full body workouts, work up to 3, and once you're confident in the movements and you're actually like acclimated to the gym, then you can look into more complicated, you know, push-pull legs, you know, like upper lower splits. It doesn't have, you don't have to dive straight into, you know, 6 days a week. And obviously if you're natural, you don't like stay away from the 6-7 days, like, you know, like the bro kind of splits, your chest and triceps, your back and biceps. It's not optimal.
Sometimes it's not as much as 2 muscle groups. Sometimes it's just back,
chest workout.
Like for me, you know, I've tried that.
I've done it for years, you know, and you don't progress.
Training muscle groups twice, maybe 3 times a week, I definitely.
That's where you see the biggest results.
Definitely got progress more from that, but I think it's just so common for people to think a muscle group a day. But if you think about that,
it's because you're training 6 days a week. You're obviously doing better.
But what if you miss a session that week? You're missing a muscle group.
Exactly.
It obviously puts a lot of pressure on you to go, well, say 6 days a week, and sometimes that's just not optimal for people.
Even someone that's like that wants to be in the gym every day, I don't want to train 6 days a week. You know what I mean? I want to be able to rest, and that's when you're resting. That's when you're going to recover. That's when you're going to grow. If you're trying to grow, that's when you're going to grow. You need rest. If you're not resting, you're not going to recover properly. You're not going to get the most out of your sessions. And if you're only training legs every Sunday, no wonder you've got DOMs Monday to Wednesday, because they're not getting the stimulus they need. You know, like as frequently. You know.
Yeah, 100%, man. When I'm starting a client, I'll never have any more than 3 sessions to begin with, just because I need to know that they can hit those 3 sessions. Some people will sit and say, yeah, I want to go 4, 5, 6 times, but I was saying 3 times. Show me you can do it, show me you can be consistent, and then we'll maybe move up to 4, upper, lower, push, pull, whatever. But and even if they get to that point and we need to bring it back, that's okay as well. Like, you know, if you're doing 5 days a week and then your circumstance changes and you can only go 3 times a week, it's not an issue with that. You just change your routine to something different that's more optimal for those 2 days, like a full bodies, and then
I don't even think 3 days is. I think 3 days is more than enough for your average person just wanting to, you know,
100%.
gain a bit of muscle, you know, be stronger,
Definitely.
even like lose weight. 3 days is a lot. If you're in there for 3 sessions, up to 90 minutes a session, that's ample time.
Think about all that recovery time.
Exactly, aye. And then on your days off, just, you know, getting your steps and just being more active in general, you know, because, you know, what's the saying, like, eat less, move more if it comes to weight loss, you know. And
well, that's another thing that I was going to want to talk about, man. Like, I think walking and general activity is really underrated for losing body fat, because it's not going nuts in a gym. But what's your thoughts on that? Basically, step counters and
all
being active?
my clients, as soon as they start, I'm saying, if you've got a Fitbit, or everyone's got a smartphone, you know, you've got the MyFitnessPal, you get apps like Pacer, you know, aim for 10,000 steps a day, and some maybe only start and they're only getting 5,000 steps a day. Well, aim for 7,000-8,000. Gradually build that up, and I've got clients now that I've got a Fitbit. They're on my Fitbit. We start like a weekly challenge, the step challenge, and I'll throw out little challenges, like if you can beat my steps, like for every day this week, then you get 3 sessions. You know, I do little things like that. I've never had to give out 3 sessions yet, like, so, but it's made me walk a lot.
What would your tips be to somebody who's not moving enough?
It's just, you know, take the stairs. If you're in the shopping centre, there's elevators, escalators. Take the stairs. You know, if you're on the escalator, walk up it. You know what I mean? If the shop's only 5-10 minutes away, and if you're in the habit of, you know, taking the car down to the shop to get your paper, to get some shopping, just go out for a walk. You know, on your lunch break, if you get an hour at work, don't sit at your desk, you know, like watching YouTube videos, you know, texting your mates, you know, watching Instagram. Go and do that while you're walking. Everyone can walk, you know. Well, not everyone can walk, but if you can, there's nothing stopping you. Just walking simple. It's not gonna, you know, break the energy balance. It's not gonna cause you any, you know, like gone like fatigue.
People feel they need to run.
No, you don't like.
They need to start running, and you know, I'm going to go a run, you know, out with maybe the gym sessions, and sometimes I'll just be like, why don't you go and walk?
Yeah, just walk.
It's a lot, unless your goal's to get really fit and run a 10k or a marathon, then that's cool. But if it's not and you don't enjoy running, go and walk a bit longer than what you would run, obviously. But you know, it's if you walk 5k and run 5k, you're still doing 5k.
Well, that's it.
It's taking you longer.
Before I hurt my shoulder, I was up at. I purposely tried to. That was when I was getting the coaching, and I hadn't deadlifted 200 kilograms before. I hadn't squat 200 kilograms before, and I was purposely trying to gain weight because I thought more body weight meant, you know, better leverages for pulling, you know, for squatting more. So I got up to 110 kilograms, and eventually, you know, managed to squat 210 kilograms, and I deadlifted 200 for the first time, and I was benching 130, but then I was, you know, fat again, 110 kilograms, and over the course of the year after, without any cardio other than walking, I didn't step on one piece of CV equipment that year. I went from 110 kilograms down to 75, and that was possibly like the best year of lifting. That was when I got up, you know, the 242 dead and whatnot. The lightest I was 75 kilograms, but when I pulled the heaviest, I was 78. And then under 78, it was like diminishing the lifts, you know. So, but and that was without cardio. That was maybe like a couple of HIIT sessions doing Tabata exercises. So, you know, like bodyweight squats, you know, like things like mountain climbers, burpees, like just like little things, you know, like 3 or 4 rounds at Tabata exercise. Nothing crazy. There was no cross trainers, no spin bikes, no rowers, no running. I don't think I've ever ran since I stopped playing rugby, and that was when I was like 15. And even that was short bursts, you know. It's like I've never been a runner. I'll never. I never want to be, you know. I never. It's not one of my goals, but you can lose weight. You can without that.
I try and promote walking so much, man, but people think I'm fucking crazy, honestly. But I'm just like people go, I just moved house, and then I was a 20-minute walk to work, which is not bad. But I'm now 40 to 45, and people say, how you get into work from your flat? I'm walking.
And walk,
You're
aye.
walking? Oh, why? No, it's not that long. Like, it's 40, 45
Nah, it's not,
minutes. Like, if I was to get on the bus, it'd probably take me, with the amount of times the bus stops and the route it goes, it'd probably take me about 25. So 15 minutes extra, and I'm burning an extra 300 calories. I'm able to have more time to listen to music, podcasts.
So that's what I like.
Or an audiobook to learn, or just to de-stress. Or like, music really helps me just kind of like get in my own kind of zone and not worry about like other things. So like, it's not even just the calorie burn for me, it's the mental side of things that walking does for me, because if I walk into work after a podcast or some music, I'm in a much better place than if I just sat on a bus half asleep and kind of
definitely,
and then come into work. Whereas I come in just a more motivated person if I walk. Obviously the weather in Scotland isn't ideal at this time of year, and sometimes the weather's that bad that I do get the bus, but when I can, I will walk it, man. And I think that is really such an underrated thing for fat loss and for people's mindsets. Well,
that was me today. I knew I was going to be sitting on a train to Glasgow for like 4 hours, and I'm going to be sitting on a train to come back, and then we're sitting here just now. I've had no real opportunity to do much, but I've got my Fitbit on, and when I got to Glasgow, instead of getting a taxi, you know, up Duke Street to go and see a friend to get my hair cut, I walked up Duke Street and then walked back to here to the top of Bath Street, and that's 12,500 steps just done. Done in Glasgow, you know. Like today, I maybe done about 900 steps prior to getting onto that train.
I'm only 8,000.
There you go. And I've still got to walk back down to the train station, so it's grand. Like,
so what about your son? Like, what's have you got him doing any squats yet?
No, well, he's got perfect form in the squats. Like, but no, he'll be 4 in December.
So you mentioned he was premature.
Yeah, he was like 3 months premature.
3 months.
Yeah.
So bloody hell, that must have been hard, man. Like,
very much so. Yeah. He was in hospital for the first like 5 months of his life. Yeah, he was born down in Edinburgh. We were rushed down to hospital on the 19th of December. He was born on the 23rd. Well, he was delivered on the 23rd, like emergency job, like and we were in Edinburgh for 5 weeks, and then he was transported when he was big enough up to Inverness, and he was in Inverness until in the special care baby unit there until he was able to come home. He's grand. He's in nursery. He's a wee kind of like child genius. He's autistic. Nice. So his communication isn't the best, but he communicates well with us. But he's like, his spelling and like numbers and things are like of what like a primary 2 would be, like a 6, 7 year old, and he's like going to be 4 in like December. Like,
for you,
it's no mine, no. No, not at all. Like, no.
Did having a kid change like your outlook on life, man?
Very much so. Yeah, it's made me like as I was saying before. Like before, I'd be like drinking every weekend. I didn't really care. Like, I didn't have any. I worked hard. I wasn't just like. I was like a team leader in the care home, and I would work maybe 14-hour shifts a week, and then the 3 days after that, I was either, you know, down here, you know, out in the piss, or at home in the pub. I had no drive to do anything other than just like, I'd go into work, I'd do my work, but once I left work, it was just like get drunk. I did do some like training, and it wasn't like to be like, oh, because I wanted to be a personal trainer or I wanted to have any goals. It was literally just to try and to keep the weight off, so I could still wear nice clothes and still go out and be comfortable. That was the drive. Then there was no kind of like, oh, I want to save and, you know, get a mortgage, or, you know, like buy a car, or and then like all my friends were like, they were kind of like, most of them had careers, you know, offshore. They'd cars, they were like their own place and whatnot. I went down to Glasgow to live with my brother. He was offshore, so it was like have my own flat, you know, down here. And then when he came back, you know, we never really we couldn't gel. We're like staying in the same flat together. So I'd move back home and then come back down to Glasgow. It was just like there was no drive. Had no passion in life. And then when I met my partner Hayley, even before like Adam was born, he'll be 4 next month. But I'd say 7 years ago, like when I met Hayley, I kind of grew up a lot.
That's awesome, man. Good to hear the wee man's doing well.
Yeah.
And that's ideal, isn't it? Having a child's birthday at Christmas.
It's mad, like, aye.
Is it?
We're sometimes tempted just to put it to his due date, which is the 10th of March, but
we stick with it.
Aye, we stick with it. So he gets his birthday presents and then he gets his Christmas presents like 2 days later. Like,
What would your biggest piece of advice, or what would you say to somebody who was maybe in the position that you were when you were at your heaviest and you felt uncomfortable and unmotivated and just not happy with yourself? You're kind of thinking, God, I'd need to lose 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 stone, it's too much, I can't do it. What, you know, from you're sitting there, we've went through it, you're now coaching other people, you're fit and active, you know, I'm the same. Hence why we're doing what we do, man. But you know, if anybody's listening to this who's maybe in that position of what I just said, what would you say to them to tell them that you can do it, man? What would your bit of advice be, man?
Just like don't wait for Monday. Just make a start. You don't have to focus on the 10 stone. You don't have to focus on the end goal. Make smaller, more sustainable goals. If it's you want to, you know, fit into a pair of jeans that's maybe like one size, you know, smaller than what you're currently in. If you just want to lose, you know, like 2 pounds, you know, make smaller goals along the way that will reach you to your bigger goal. And don't be embarrassed, because most gyms you go into, nobody's watching you, because they've probably been like the majority of people have been like, they've felt like you in some way, whether it's the skinny guy that wants to get bigger, whether it's, you know, someone else that's been, you know, in my shoes, it was obese and I wanted to get, you know, slimmer. If it's the guy that just hasn't got a clue what he's doing, you know, it could be someone recovering from an illness, an injury, you know, everyone's got their own reason for being there. Not everyone's going to be like judgmental. Yeah. I do believe in yourself. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Anyone, if me and you.
Well, if I can do it, then literally like anyone can. And I've seen people that were in a lot worse position than I was, like do better than what I've done. So it is doable.
Definitely, man. What's your goals for the next maybe a couple of years? Like, obviously you are where you are at the moment, and with your job and your business, man, what you thinking over the next wee while?
Fitness goals, I'm gonna get back down to like 78 kilograms, still be able to lift heavy. And then career wise, I'm in the new year, I'm definitely going to sign up for the Advanced Coaching Academy to go through it with Phil Lerney.
Nice.
I've been thinking about it for the past year and just kind of thinking, I don't have time, blah blah, like, you know, just putting it off. And in the new year, I'm going to take more time to myself and be a little bit more selfish towards, you know, like my time. I'm not going to take on like new clients in the new year. I'm just going to stick with the people that I've got. Yep. I've got a good group of clients and just going to concentrate on them and take a bit more time to, you know, further my learning and, you know, concentrate on family life. Like,
brilliant, man.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Where can people find you?
They can find me on Instagram.
You need to check.
I do. Yeah, I'm not very good at the social media. I'm getting a little bit better.
I think you tagged the wrong person earlier, by the way, because I never got a notification and it came up me. So I think you've tagged the wrong DC.
Yeah, I'm not very good at social media. Mine is form / function.
What's an underslash?
Underscore. Underscore. There we go. Like, see, I've told you I'm rubbish at it. It's form and function fitness. You'll find it. And I'm on.
Tagged you in a bit.
Aye, exactly. Aye, and I'm on Instagram and Facebook. Yeah.
Anything else?
Nah, not really. Yeah.
And can I get dirty Snapchats off you or anything like that?
No. I do have a Snapchat. Aye, I do have a Snapchat.
This one?
Nah, not really. It's just normally like selfies of me sitting in the toilet.
Alright, that's fine. We'll not put that one out there then, man. Anything else you want to talk about, man? Anything that's on your mind at all today?
Honestly, I came in.
Ask people this and nobody ever.
Nah, at all. I came in with people are like wanting, like my mates like, oh, what are you going down to talk about? I honestly came in with no, like idea of what we were going to speak about. I obviously knew we were going to speak about.
Don't tell people.
Obviously knew we were going to speak about weight loss. I obviously knew we'd touch on anxiety because I've obviously posted about it on my social media.
Yeah.
But nah, I honestly didn't. I didn't think, because I was kind of thinking like, fuck, what are we going to speak about?
I think obviously I appreciate that as maybe a wee bit kind of like scary for people coming on, because I don't show you the questions and what I'm going to ask.
Because I was messaging asking, so what do you want to talk about? Because I wanted to have things to answer with, you know. So if I'd known, I would have been like, oh, I'd have had much better answers.
I should have given you the question. No, but that was awesome.
What's your goals for the podcast?
Just to get some as epic conversations and people's stories, man. You know, everybody's got their own story.
We're gonna get Mark in here with Borat Mankini on.
I don't know about that, mate, but Mark is coming on in 2 weeks. I think,
nice.
So I'll maybe see him tomorrow if he's in the gym. I'm going to train with TJ tomorrow, but I just trying to get some other people's stories out there, because everybody can relate to somebody else's story.
Yeah.
Yours is different to mine, TJ's was different to yours. Everybody's got their own thing going on, man.
TJ's episode and Hot John's were like, they've been the highlights of my your podcast.
Thanks,
like so far, I loved listening to Hot John's one. There was moments in that when I was thinking I was there that night.
Yeah,
there's stories there, and I meshed him after saying like, you probably don't remember me, because it was always like you were drunk and I was drunk, and he messed back saying, I've looked at your photos, I remember you. Did you used to be fat? It's like, yeah, I used to be fat.
No, but it's been good, man. It was a scary thing to start up. Didn't know if anyone was going to listen, didn't know if anyone was going to care, but getting people on has been really good, man, because most of the time it's just been an open flowing, well, every time it's been an open flowing conversation. People have got their stories out there, because as you know, everybody's got their own opinions.
Nutrition,
training, so just their opinions on what works for them, or what could potentially work for other people, and it's just all about getting good stuff out for people who will take something from it, you know what I mean? Because podcasts were massive for me when I was trying to learn and trying to understand or get motivation from them. So because as much as we all like, well, not we all, but a lot of people like love music and stuff like that, like I think that podcasts are something different. You know,
I spend more time personally listening to podcasts than what I do music these days. And I was massive, like still big into music, and that's what I listen to when I'm in the gym, but training. But if I'm driving, if I'm walking, if I'm doing anything else, if I'm in the kitchen, if I'm in between clients, I'm listening to a podcast, whether it be a fitness one or a comedian, but it's generally a fitness related one. So it could be like Shredded by Science, it could be AJ Morris, it could be like something along that lines. And
I'm massive on it at night time, man, because I can sometimes struggle to switch off at night.
I fall asleep
because
with podcasts.
I get in from work really late, and then I'm eating, and then I'm going to bed pretty much. So yeah, podcasts help me kind of doze off, and then I just pick up the next day.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Going into work or whatever. But it's been fun so far, man, and just looking forward to carrying it on, getting more people on, doing the odd one by myself, talking about my own experiences, and just trying to help folk, man.
Alright.
That's it.
Have you got many fitness related goals for next year?
Me?
Apart from tomorrow's?
I do, mate.
Big PB?
Tomorrow is going for a big
put it out there like it'll happen.
I'm a wee bit shaking it, to be honest, but that'll be tomorrow. That's just because my triathlon finished in mid-September, so in October I could really start focusing on the gym and stuff again, because as much as I'll always keep up my weight training when I'm training for triathlon, it's
difficult.
Change. It's hard, mate. When I went out a 10k run the previous night, my legs. And
then you're cycling, sore, you're swimming.
Swimming. My body's sore always, man. So like doing big, heavy lifts.
That's it. You're not going to perform optimally if you're doing so much endurance work.
Definitely, man. So like my weight training drops at that point, so it's picked back up, and I've tried to get some serious weight for me on again, so I'm going to test that tomorrow. And then next year I'm going to be focusing on weights and lifting heavy the rest of the year, just keeping my cardio ticking over. Next year it's going to be half Ironman.
Yeah.
Half Ironman next year. I was playing with the idea of just going into full Ironman next year, but I want to give myself, because of the way I want to do it, man, I don't want to, I'm not turning into a triathlete, do you know what I mean? I'm not going to stop weight training. I want to keep trying to get a wee bit bigger, a wee bit bigger, a wee bit bigger. And
difficult when you're putting in so many miles on a bike and
is, mate,
on the road, like,
doable.
you know, yeah,
it's doable. It's just a lot
of calories,
a lot of hard work, a lot of calories. But because I'm doing it like that, I'm going to do half first,
aye,
and then possibly another crazy thing next year. But I'm not going to confirm that just yet until I get it all signed up and stuff. And probably at some point next year, just work on strength and deadlifts again, and try and whatever I do tomorrow, try and better that.
Yeah.
I need to better my squat, man. My squat's not moved in fucking ages. I just haven't put the work in for it, and so I can't really complain about it. But my squat and my bench hasn't really moved. My deadlift has moved dramatically since working more with TJ.
Yeah.
But my squat and my bench hasn't. But that's just because I haven't.
I put as much
put in the time for it. So I want to probably work on those two as well. Just try to do everything, mate. You know
yeah,
what I mean? Which isn't obviously optimal for each certain thing, but I love everything. I love endurance. I love strength. I love hypertrophy. I love football. I play tennis. I just love it all. So I want to do it all.
Yeah.
I missed out on so many years of doing it. I just trying to cram everything into my life now, and I just want to see where my body, what limits it can go to prove that anything's possible, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's it, really.
That's it. How long are you in journey? Like 7 years? Is it 7 years?
Into it?
Like, yeah.
Like since I started
like
training?
started training, yeah.
5 years, man.
5 years. That's
5.
still early days. Like,
still early,
yeah.
man. So I was 8 years of not training, not playing football, drinking heavy, and I'm only 5 years into my new life,
yeah,
so
exactly.
to speak. So just turned 30 this year. So I'm just trying to get fitter as I get older, and yeah, that's
it. Aye,
buddy. Aye. So thanks a lot for
coming thank you for having me on. I hope it wasn't
hope
it wasn't boring. Like,
no, not at all. There's a lot of good stuff in there, and all the best for the future.
Aye, thank you very much.
Nice one, man.
Right, thanks. Cheers.